Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Burundi. We have finally witnessed it. We've been waiting a long time for it. We've been talking about it for a few seasons. Sidney Crosby has passed Mario Lemieux for most points scored all time with the Pittsburgh Penguins and league wide, because both of these guys have only played their career with the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is very impressive. I know it's a lot of stuff that people might expect to hear, but what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, we knew it was going to happen eventually here. Sidney Crosby being one of the most iconic players since he came into the league, has accomplished pretty much everything you can as a player. And, you see a lot of guys where once you kind of get to that point, they're kind of just satisfied and ready to move on to the next chapter in life for them, whatever that may be. And a lot of them, it's going back into hockey in some way. For Crosby, it's just continuing to play. It's continuing to have fun. He loves the game and everything around it. And kind of the biggest thing that I feel like that kind of came out of this was a lot of people saying, okay, now that he's not only passed Lemieux like all time, but all time as a Penguins points leader.
As a
right. And now,
leader.
so a lot of people are now using that as ammo to be like, well, now he can leave Pittsburgh. Now he can go off and, he can go play for Colorado, for Montreal, whoever. And it's like, I don't think he wants to, though. I don't think
Crosby's the kind of guy that cares about that, especially with how close he is to Lemieux. Like, personally, I don't think he's looking at it like, okay, now my stamp's on the team. Now I can go somewhere. Like, he'd already captained him for 20 years. He had already won back-to-back Conn Smites. Like,
and obviously with that comes back-to-back cups. And he's kind of, like I said, he's kind of done everything you can. So, when you're a guy like Crosby who just loves the game and has a lot of pride, when you've accomplished everything, why would you go cup chase? Why would you want to go to Colorado and be second fiddle to Nathan MacKinnon? Why would you want to now go to Montreal and have to be, second fiddle to Suzuki and whatnot? Right? Like, he's the guy in Pittsburgh. He has been since he got there. And if he wants to cup chase, like, go for it, good on him. But it's not something that he needs to do, like a lot of guys have been doing the last few years, or guys that, over the last 50 years have done. He's content where he's at. He's having fun still. Penguins are still in the race, and
and I think that's one of the most impressive
Penguins all-time leader now.
I do wonder, because it's such an even split in my mind. Like, he seems like a guy who wants to stay in Pittsburgh, wants to retire, be a one-team guy. At the same time, it's Crosby. This guy, all he knows is winning, and all he wants to do is win. And if he can't do it in Pittsburgh, I could see him going to another team. And, like, if he does, it's not going to tarnish his legacy in Pittsburgh. Like, they're not going to boo him when he comes back. None of that. But maybe he goes somewhere else and gets maybe he gets a fourth and a fifth cup. Maybe he gets another Conn Smythe. That is incredibly possible. I believe he's currently tied for fifth all time in playoff points league wide, and I'm pretty sure he's the highest amount of points for a player not on the Dynasty Gretzky Oilers all time in points. I'm pretty sure the only guys above him are like Gretzky, Messier, Curry, and Coffey, or something like that. Like, I'm pretty sure it's all guys from that one team. So he has nothing to prove, but he's also a guy who loves to win. So
and that's
it really feels like over his career, the rest of his career, it's a 50-50 on if he leaves or not. It's straight up, does he want it?
It's totally up to him, right? Like, and he's not going to, if he leaves, it's not like he's going to get booed or like, it's, his reputation as a Penguin is going to be tarnished. And it is honestly the best thing for the Pittsburgh Penguins franchise to trade him. Like, realistically, probably not winning another cup with Crosby in Pittsburgh. Like, that's just a fact. And so you might as well get assets back and start your inevitable rebuild that's coming eventually. It's basically just how long are you going to delay it? And if Crosby wants to stay though and go down with the sinking ship and retire Penguin, he's earned the right to, and that's fine. There's,
I think Pittsburgh would be happy with either.
It's completely fine. Whatever Crosby wants to do, he's earned the right. And basically, just kind of my point was just now that he has done this and he's the all-time Penguins point scorer, and it's going to be a very, very, very long time before anyone passes him. It's not like he's immediately now like, all right, now trade me, like now get me out of here. Like,
everything I said was applicable a month ago. I don't think the situation's changed because of this.
Yeah, and again, congrats to Sidney Crosby on a couple historic milestones, because not only a massive league milestone, but a massive one just for the franchise of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it's really cool that the longest active trio in professional sports history and of all time. It was really cool that he got to do it with Malkin and Letang still there. Because, there was rumors over the past few years that they were trying to run Letang out of Pittsburgh. They did almost everything they could to run Malkin out, and Crosby made sure he was coming back.
And so
I just thought it was really cool that, both those guys were able to be there and a part of that moment. And it would have been cool regardless, but it's just really cool that those guys were able to be a part of that moment.
It's too bad Lemieux wasn't able to see it in person. They had him record a video. I guess he had been to 5 or 6 games in a row, and I guess Crosby went on a bit of a cold streak to the point where Lemieux stopped going to the games and recorded a video. Which, I mean, fair. At a certain point, you're like, surely Crosby's going to do it this game. But I mean, after 6 games and, he hasn't got the 2 or 3 points needed or whatever, it's like, okay, I am retired flying around chasing this team. Like, at a certain point, it's like, maybe I'll do it if you're at a home game or something.
Yeah, absolutely. But we can move on from that. We can say welcome, everyone, to the last episode from the Stick 'em Up podcast before Christmas. It's not the final one, don't worry. I don't believe we will have an official episode going out on the Friday. I know Fridays are kind of our usual main day. But with Christmas on the Thursday and Boxing Day and whatnot, you guys probably don't want to listen to us. And there's going to be no news after today.
The roster
no games
freeze,
the next few days,
less games.
There's going to be nothing. We might have some stuff over the next couple of days, maybe coming out on the YouTube. I don't think we've finalized exactly what's going on, but those of you who are active on there, you guys are able to check it and keep up to date on that. So whenever stuff rolls out on that, and there will be stuff eventually, you'll be getting it on there. But I think in terms of the official podcast, there won't be anything until next week on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Same time, same place.
I don't know if it's going to be as soon as this Friday, but we're planning on recording the predictions, or rather what our mock teams, I guess, would be for some of the countries in the Olympics. So we're going to be doing some of those fairly soon. I don't know if those will be coming out on Christmas or if those will be a bit closer to New Year's, but I mean, they're going to get announced on New Year's Eve, right? So they got to come out on or before that date, at least.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for those. Those will all be on the YouTube. We'll probably make a post on our socials about them or something as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have something coming out about it. Probably.
But with all that, Merry Christmas, and let's get into some of the news here. We only really have one under our general news tab, and that is the Toronto Maple Leafs firing assistant coach Marc Savard, who I believe is their power play coach. And the Leafs have the bottom-ranked power play in the league, so it's not that shocking.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world for them. The team is scrambling right now, and I think this is kind of the final. And I get it, because like you do kind of have to fire him. Like it has just been that bad in Toronto this year. And it'll get worse. We'll dive into some other stuff that's pretty bad with Toronto.
Yeah, I mean they're last in the East at the moment. Like it's wow. Like
it's
even
not good there.
Accounting for Marner leaving, where did most people have him? probably wild card 1, maybe wild card 2. Marner's a pretty big piece of the team. Surely you have them. Most people have them in the playoffs. If not, the rest of them have them fighting for the playoffs.
Yeah.
The bottom of the entire East, not
Bottom
just
of
the
the entire
Atlantic.
East.
That's crazy. Like
Yeah.
by Christmas, like we're way past American Thanksgiving now. Like
All signs, yeah, like the way things have gone over the past, many years in the league, all signs are pointing to the Toronto Maple Leafs miss the playoffs. And again, it sucks that you have to fire Mark Savard 3 days before Christmas, but what do? Do you wait and just then fire him on Boxing Day? Because you can't just keep running with it. Or do you fire him on the 27th and be like, well, now we have 1 day to try and fix our power play before the next game. Like you had to do it. It does suck, ahead of it. But it's been rough for the Leafs. Matthews is forever not having a good year. You look at it and
do the coaches get paid out? I know head coaches do. When they get fired, until they get hired by another team, they're paid out for their contract. Is it the same with assistant coaches? Is there anything different?
I'm not 100% sure with assistant coaches. I don't exactly know how that goes.
I would assume it's the same rules. It's just they're probably paid way less than a head coach, so it's not something that news outlets pick up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this team had to do something, and like frankly, they're almost lucky to have the points that they do have, just because their 1 and 2 goalies in Joseph Wool and Anthony Stolarz have both been injured several times this season, and that's brutal enough. But they've played Dennis Hildeby for 13 games. He has a .911 save percentage.
Yeah, he
that's actually very solid.
He hasn't hurt the team one bit. He's been very solid. The problem is
it would be reasonable if he had an .895, like as the third stringer. They had to bring him up from the Marlies. So the fact that they're
he's giving them a chance
with him giving them a chance is a little bit extra rough. I saw a stat earlier, and I'm just gonna say it because I don't know how else to bring it up. I just want to bring it up, make sure it's not outdated. But Austin Matthews on the season has 23 points.
Yeah. In 30 games.
And
I think I know where you're going with this, and it's bad.
In 36 games, so 6 more games, 18-year-old defenseman Matthew Schaefer, 24 points.
Oh, that's not even where I was going.
Matthew Schaefer has more points than Austin Matthews this season.
There is that. Yeah.
He's played 6 more games, sure, but guess what? One of those dudes is 18. The other one's won a Hart Trophy. So
it gets even worse, because I thought you were going somewhere else with it, so now I'll go there with it. So Austin Matthews, 23 points in 30 games. Yep. Right? That's not the best. That's point per game pace,
million.
His point per game pace this season, if he played all 82 games, 62 points. We're not even at Christmas yet. Connor McDavid has 62 points. There was a time, and it's not even close now, but there was a time when people were trying, and again, it was mostly Leafs fans, people were trying to claim that Austin Matthews was up there with Connor McDavid, that he was the 1B in the league. And
for a time, I think he was. I believe it. Like
he was never my 1B.
I think he was when he won the Hart Trophy
there
for
in a top. He
was a Selke level defensive player and a 60-65 goal guy. Like being able to play great defense and score goals, which it
is impressive. Absolutely.
I feel like I put a little more respect on assists than most people do, but at the end of the day, goals do matter more than assists. Like I think he was. I mean, it's Connor McDavid. I think Matthews was my number 2 at the time. He wasn't a 1B, but yeah, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years since he's looked like that guy.
Yeah, and it's just a constant battle in Toronto. Like what's the stat here? William Nylander hasn't scored since November 26th. And I think the stat was in
Wow.
his last 12 games. It's 0 goals and 4 assists for Nylander
That's
or
a
something like
that's a
that.
month. That's a month in 3
Yeah,
days. Do they even
yeah.
have another game before the break?
Do they play tonight? Leafs must play tonight. They play the Penguins. Because again, we are
Jeez.
recording this on the Tuesday morning. I mean, Toronto's got to figure it out somehow, especially when you look at they traded their 2026 first round pick at the deadline last year to Boston. It's not even lottery protected, it's top 5 protected. So if the
Man.
Leafs stick around where they're at right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If Toronto doesn't move up or down again, they probably will. If they are in the spot by the end of the season, Boston gets the 7th overall pick for Brandon Carlo,
Who has been
who Toronto
borderline
has tried to trade already.
borderline a net negative. And that sucks, man. I loved that trade for them. I loved it for both sides when it happened. Like, I had every reason to believe, and so did Toronto, that Brandon Carlo was going to be a great defenseman for them, a great defensive defenseman with good physicality. The defense hasn't been there. The physicality certainly hasn't been there. And
Yeah,
man, I don't know what it is. It feels like he should be one of the best coaches at rallying the troops in the league. And they actually said either earlier today or yesterday that out of the Leafs org that Treliving and their head coach Craig Berube are not on the chopping block. They're not in danger of being fired immediately, which we have heard before, and then it's happened, so it
yeah,
could still happen. Um,
yeah,
that locker room has given up on this coach.
yeah.
I
Craig
think I
Berube
think they've
has
just
lost
given
the
up on
ring.
it.
Absolutely, and I don't think it's any fault of his own. I think when you do lose a guy like Mitch Marner, it's the team is naturally going to get worse. And again, we kind of said it at the time when it happened. We were hoping that Craig Berube could flip it in Toronto, but he's not what Toronto needs.
No,
Apparently, the team couldn't get fully bought in. There was like moments where you could kind of see glimmers of okay, they're kind of starting to buy in, but the team never fully bought in. And if the team fully doesn't buy in, and you might not like this, other people might not like it. If the Florida Panthers bought into what Paul Maurice was selling them, and they won 2 cups. They may be the biggest villains in NHL history, but you have 2 Stanley Cups because the team bought into what the coach was selling. And that's what you need. And
that's one thing
Rube's
I've
tried
never
everything. And
like I despise that team and that org, how they're doing things right now. You're 100% correct. Like I've said it before, how they had a couple dirty players, but they weren't a dirty team. He comes in and his ideology, now like the 5th cleanest guy on the team is still throwing some things in there he might not have in the past. Like because they all buy into it. It's not one guy has that role. It's as a unit. So yeah, like you need to buy
and that's
into
why I don't
to the team rule. And
yeah.
Craig Berube's main thing for coaching a team, his main thing he preaches is effort. And this is the Leafs team we've seen with the least effort since the COVID year where they had the Canadian division and they lost to the Canadians.
Yeah, you could even argue before that when they lost to Columbus in the play-in. Like those some dark times. And yeah, Berube has tried everything he can. It's just not working. And I'm never going to sit here and bash the Leafs and laugh at them for being at the bottom of the league like because a lot of people like to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue to cheer for the Leafs and where they're at because Toronto did the thing that everybody's been screaming for Edmonton to do for years. You have this great core. You have these great players. Fuck the draft picks, the prospects. You need to win now. That's what Toronto did. They, the past how many years, shipped off every first round pick. Every prospect they had outside of Easton Cowan pretty much gone. And now they put themselves in a tough spot here, but at least they tried.
They didn't
trade. It's unfortunate they ran into the wagon of the Florida Panthers, but at least they were trying to go all in.
They didn't trade Marner with 1 year left, you know? The Avalanche had won a cup and with the freaking guy, and they couldn't do that with Rantanen. They weren't confident enough to run it with 1 more year with Rantanen to try and win. They traded him off. And He went to Carolina. Carolina wasn't willing to make one crack at it either. Like, they shipped him off. Like, most teams are not willing to do that. They were. And I'm so torn because nobody else brought the Panthers last season to 7 games but them. But I want to know how much that matters, because
it doesn't.
Is it even an
it's cup or
indictment of
bust
something?
in Toronto.
And the thing is, they can win games. They can win 3 games against anybody. It's the 4th win. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, oh, but they got to 7. And it's like, how many times can they say that, though? They got to 7 against Tampa, and we beat them. They got to 7 against Boston 2 years ago. They lost. They got to 7 against the Canadiens, and that's when they blew the series. Like, they got
to 5 against Columbus. So basically game 7.
Exactly.
Elimination
in
game
a best of a 3, they got to 7. Like, the other Bruins won. They went to 7 a bit earlier. Like,
now Panthers,
in the last 8 years, they've gone to game 7, or in Columbus is the rubber match because it's best of 5. They went to game 5, best of 3, I guess. Like, they make it to that final game every year that they're in the playoffs,
but they can't get over that hump.
But they can't get over it. It's brutal.
Yeah. So and that's kind of my thing is because I get people are dogging on Toronto.
They haven't even won one, have they?
No.
Because I knew they'd made out of the first round, but they beat Tampa in game 6. They beat the Sens in was 5 or 6. Like,
I think it was 6 in the end.
Even the ones where they did end up getting out of the first round,
because they didn't have to go to that game 7. Exactly. And so that's why I'm not going to bash. I mean, I might bash on Toronto, but I'm always going to be kind of rooting for them because they had the balls to go all in. They had the balls to take one final run with Mitch Marner, knowing you are going to lose him and you are not going to get a massive haul back. And granted, Mitch Marner did have a no movement clause and whatnot and all that, but if Toronto really wanted
they could have made a stink.
They could have found a way to trade him. They could have found the most ideal destination for him, where he was guaranteed an 8-year deal, all this money and whatnot. Like they could have made a deal happen, but they wanted to. They've decided to take one more run with him. They did try to trade him to Carolina. You'd be getting Mikko Rantanen back, so that's fine. But when that didn't work, it's like, all right, let's just bear down and go all in, and it didn't work out. And now, the forward core is struggling, the defense is struggling, goaltenders haven't been healthy, which sucks for them. But you know what? Hildeby's been just as good as you probably would get out of Woll and Stolars anyways. So it comes down to the defense is not doing their job. Your forwards aren't doing their jobs, and your top guys, Matthews and Nylander, aren't putting the team on their back. Like guys like, you look at the top of the league and McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini, Draisaitl, Rantanen, Natchez, Kucherov, Bedard, Robertson, Makar, Boldy, Kaprizov, Scheifele, Connor, like all guys, actually maybe not Scheifele and Kyle Connor, which we might get into, but all those other guys are putting their team on their backs almost nightly. You're maybe getting that out of Matthews and Nylander once every 5 games, maybe. Like it's, and that's a maybe on every 5 games. So once every 2 weeks, you're maybe getting them to put the team on their back for a win. You need more out of them, and that's the biggest thing. If those two don't pick it up, the Leafs have zero chance of making the playoffs. Tavares is doing fine, and especially he's exceeding, but that's the thing. He's no longer making $11 million. He's a $4 million player.
Now it's a sweetheart deal. Like all the negative, kind of value you were getting before, where he was good but not playing up to how much you were paying him. Now you're kind of getting the reverse of that, where he's giving you so much more than you're paying him. So it'd be nice for them to try and capitalize on that. But I unfortunately I can't find it. I'm not sure which game it was after, but I know there was one game recently in the last few days, where the Leafs lost, and I don't even remember what Craig Berube said, but I just remember listening to his post-game presser and being like, oh, that guy's like fired. Like he's done. And I looked at the comments and everyone said the exact same thing. Like, oh, he's like done in Toronto. I'm shocked that he's still there right now, honestly. The way he was talking, and he just wants the team to play for him, and they're just not putting in the effort that they need to.
Yeah.
And that's not his fault. Yeah. Sometimes coaches lose the room. So we'll see if it gets better.
We can move on to the next thing. The final thing I'll say on this, because I think this could possibly be it. I don't think Berube's fired yet, because I think Tree Living knows that if Berube's fired, they bring another coach and it doesn't work, he's probably on the way out. You know,
at
it's
minimum,
like,
that's his second last coach.
Like Craig Berube is kind of his shield right now, and if you discard your shield, you could leave yourself pretty vulnerable. And I think that could be a big part of why Berube is still there, because he might be a little
thankful that their power play was so bad and they were able to fire.
Put the blame on an assistant coach. And to be fair, Marc Savard absolutely should have been fired. He was awful power play in Calgary, and it's now translated to Toronto. So it makes sense, but
there's a couple power plays of theirs I watched, and do they think Matthews can't shoot? He is the fifth man on their power play, and it's evident, and it hurts to watch because we know what this guy can do with the puck. Like, he barely moves and the puck's gone bar down. Like, his shot is so nasty, and the amount of times
the best pure shot in the league.
Yeah. Like the way the puck bounces, and they bounce it between three guys on the far side, but then they just never feed it to Matthews. It's like, there's a couple I've watched where he has like 0 puck touches on a 2-minute power play. And it's like, then what are you paying him the money for?
Yeah.
Like,
but kind of argument, if you are Austin Matthews, sometimes you got to be selfish. When you're down 3-0 and you're just dicking around on the power play, sometimes you're the captain. You just got to say fuck it, and you got to start shooting it. You got to take matters into your own hands, and you know, you can't get bullied around by a coach. Just be like, well, we're going to lose then if I'm irrelevant on the power play. So I'm very curious to see what this new Leafs power play might look like, though, because they got to start scoring.
Yeah. I don't know if it had happened since by the time we did the last episode. But there was the stat that I saw that only 3 teams currently in NHL history have blown a 3 or more goal lead on back-to-back nights. I don't know when the first one was. I haven't been able to find that. I've looked it up. But the other 2 both happened in the last week. It's crazy that it's only ever happened once before. But it was the Pittsburgh Penguins blowing their 4-goal lead against the Sharks, and then a 3-goal lead against the Mammoth. And then Carolina blew a 3-goal lead against the Panthers. The next night, they blew a 3-goal lead against the Lightning.
Yeah.
It's something that had happened once in NHL history as recently as a week ago. And all of a sudden, we got 2 new members of that shitty club. So
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Carolina too. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that goes to show
I think Carolina's fine, but
yeah, well, and that goes to show though that again, no lead is safe in this league because of how, you know, diverse this league is. You know, like the thing we kind of talked about before is if you're out of a playoff spot come American Thanksgiving, you're probably not making the playoffs, especially by Christmas. Like if you're bottom of your division, your conference, you're probably making the playoffs. I mean, Toronto is only 6 points out of a playoff spot, and they're bottom of the East. Like,
was Craig Berube the coach of that Blues team?
He was. Yeah. So
obviously, that Blues team is always. Whenever you look at them, looking back on history, you have to remember they're the outlier, not the rule.
Yeah.
But
if you have,
they have a pretty good. They have a team better than last in the East.
Yeah, and so they're only 6 back, and you get to Chicago. Chicago was in a playoff spot, a couple weeks ago. A lot of injuries. They're now dead last in the league. They're only 7
Bedard
points
and
back.
Nazar, especially.
Yeah, like it felt like at
difference.
this time last year when we were looking at teams like San Jose, Chicago, Nashville,
They were like 15 to
Columbus.
20
Like
points
it
out.
was actually no, not even Columbus. These really didn't have any major shitters last. So mostly the Western teams, but
Well, around this
it
time,
still
the
feels like it's
Sabres,
kind of wide open.
because I'm pretty sure right now the Sabres would have been like on the tail end of their like 13
Oh,
game losing streak.
yeah, I was kind of thinking Sabres, but I was okay. So we'll throw, but like all these teams are still in it. Yeah, it is a battle being 7 points back, but there's still a lot of games to be played. There's still like 47 games to be played on the season. That's doable. You go on a 3-game win streak. One of the teams you're chasing goes on a 3-game losing streak. You're 1 point back of them now. And you're right in the fight.
Yeah, Tampa was 2 spots below wild card 2, like 4 days ago. Like they were 2 spots away from being in wild card 2. They won back-to-back games, and now they are second in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Like
Minnesota Wild.
It literally
2.5 weeks into the
4
season.
points puts you all the way up there.
Yeah, look at the Minnesota Wild.
We'd be one above the Sabres. Sabres, 6-game win streak.
Yeah, Buffalo's on.
Have they lost in the post Kevin Adams era?
No, they're still rolling. I was just going to say Minnesota as well. They were
might be stoked
down there at the bottom of the league 2.5 weeks in. They're third in the league now. They got so good that they were like, well, we can trade for Quinn Hughes now. It makes sense that we can do that.
Yeah.
It's all you got to do is go on a bit of a heater. Yeah, Buffalo, they were down bottom of the East at one point. I mean, they're still third last, but they're 3 points out of a playoff spot. That's pretty good for Buffalo come Christmas time, and they haven't gone on that. At this point last year, they were on that 11, 12, 20-game losing streak.
Right now they're on a 6-game win streak.
They could be on a 7-game win streak going into Christmas now. That is a total shift for them. And
especially doing it for a new GM.
I'm not going to say it's all on. I'm not going to say it's all on Lindy Ruff and whatnot. Because I'm not going to glaze Lindy Ruff in his second run with Buffalo. I'm just not. If they make the playoffs, I will. Okay, you know what? I will. If they make the playoffs, but it feels like a little bit of a different team. They have gotten better, and they're a bit of a deeper team. I think the team kind of knows, like, and I think it does kind of help having Kevin Adams out and having Kekline in, knowing like he could change this team up overnight. Like nobody's safe in Buffalo.
No.
You've got. I mean, okay, maybe Rasmus.
Their assistant GM wasn't. Didn't they move out an assistant GM and they brought in Marc Bergevin, right?
Marc Bergevin, yeah. Which I'm okay with because he's not making any of the calls. Like if he was GM, I'd be like, okay, this is a problem, but he's not calling the shots or anything there. He's kind of I think he's kind of doing more of the AHL team, which have a blast, go have fun down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Buffalo is.
Do you have the standings up right now? If not, don't bring them up. Okay.
I'll get rid of them then.
Okay, I'm hoping that yours didn't have goal differential on it.
Oh no.
Cool. How many teams do you think are a positive goal differential in the Atlantic?
How many teams in the Atlantic have a positive goal differential? 2.
All right, which 2?
Tampa and Detroit.
Tampa is plus 22, and Detroit, who has 2 more points than them, 45 points leading the division. You'd think they'd have a positive goal differential, but they're a -3.
Really?
To get a plus goal differential, you actually have to go down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th in the division, down to the Ottawa Senators, who are a +7.
Wow.
Everyone else is the Panthers and Bruins are both even. They're both at a 0. Canadians -5. Wings are -3 at the top. The Sabres are -6. The Leafs are -9. It's a weird
that
time
just
in the
goes to
NHL.
show, that teams are close together, and when team and that goes to show, it's not not to say that Detroit's a bad team because they're literally top of the Atlantic, but it's going to show that when they're either when they're winning games, they're winning by one goal. Maybe they get an empty netter. When they lose, it's probably they're down by one. They pull the goalie and it's an empty netter, so they're a -2 on the game. It's like they're all in close games and they're first in the division because they're winning more games than they're losing. They're winning more of those close games than they're losing, and it's the games that they lose, they're still right in it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're going out there and getting slapped 5-0 every time they lose. It's close battles they're in, and that's fine as long as you're getting wins.
It could just be a couple of those as well. Like if you over a 5-game stretch, you can go 4-1, but if you have 3 1-goal wins and then a single 2-goal win, maybe you get an empty netter. That's a +5. Maybe the one loss is a 7-1 loss. You're at -1 on the week, but you went 4-1. So there's a good chance that they just have a couple big blowouts holding them down. Or I know they do have quite a few overtime wins as of late. I've seen a couple different highlights of them winning in OT lately. So they've got a couple 1-goal wins, but 7-2-1 in their last 10. Tied with the Panthers at the exact same record for best last 10 record in the Atlantic.
Yeah. We got a couple other teams we can touch on here, a couple in the standings. Which of these teams here we got a couple we've already kind of gone through. We talked about Toronto, we talked about Chicago, we talked about Detroit there. Which of these other teams?
Let's talk about Winnipeg.
Kind of surprising spots. Winnipeg.
Let's talk about Winnipeg because what the hell's going on over there, man? Bro, they just won the Presidents. What do you mean they're 2-5-3 in their last 10? Only 2 wins? Connor Hellebuck's back, man. Like, that's crazy. They're just not winning games. And like, I've tuned into a couple of them, and like, I don't even fully know what it is because they clearly do not pass the eye test the same way they did last year. But they also don't look horrendous. Like, I really don't know what's changed to the point where it feels this different.
Yeah, and I think with Winnipeg, it's kind of a mixture of things. Obviously, going through that stretch without Connor Hellebuck didn't help, and that's fine because the best goalie in the league, when you lose them, that's going to hurt a guy that you rely on for 60+ games every year. It's when you look at I think the defense is pretty fine. I think Neil Pionk has definitely struggled this year, but it's that's not solely on him. He's still doing fine. It is the forward depth, and it comes from you lose Nikolai Ehlers, which there was no one out there in free agency you could get to replace him, and their kind of big move was getting Jonathan Toews, which was fine. But they brought Jonathan Toews in with the expectation of he's going to be their second line center all year. He's going to
always seemed crazy
be the guy and now you look at it and remember, because he had the weird contract, right, where he was making, it was like $900,000, but then it kept going up based on how many games he played. He's now at I think he's past the $5 million mark, and he's their fourth line center now.
I thought it was based on maybe some playoff stuff too.
No, it's based on and that's what we said it should be, or points wise or something.
I forgot about that.
It was based on regular season games played, and he's now their fourth line center. And he's had moments where I'm like, okay, I see it, but overall, it hasn't been.
It sounds like he's doing more harm than good at this point. He should probably be getting scratched, right?
I mean, considering every game he plays, it's only costing Winnipeg more money.
Yeah,
your first line is Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gustav Nyquist. I mean, Scheifele and Connor, that's what drives your offense. Gustav Nyquist, they're trying to trade him from what it sounds like because it just has not worked out there. Your second line, Cole Perfetti, Gabe Villard on the wings with Nemestikov in the middle. The wingers are fine, but Nemestikov's not a second line center on a team going for the cup. I like the player. I think he brings a lot of great things, but he's a phenomenal third liner.
There was flashes of it where I was like, maybe this guy can flex into that 2C. Last year and last postseason especially, he definitely played above
for stints and when
of
needed,
the level I thought
could.
But yeah, you'd much rather have that be an option, but we'll go to it if we have to because we've got this guy doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to go in with that being the game plan. And I just can't believe they thought he was going to do so much for him. Like, I get it, he's Jonathan Taves and stuff, but he
He also
hadn't played
for
hadn't played pro
two
hockey, any
years.
hockey, in 2 years, 2 full years at least. And on top of that, he was trying to gain back some weight because he lost like 60 or 70 pounds or something. Like he had I think he might have been long COVID or he was dealing with some issue, and he did his whole uh natural medicine remedy or whatever he was doing, and he was he was doing this big detox and he lost all this weight, and he was like usually you can't see a NHL player's ribs, right? So when it was he's coming back and they wanted to be that big of a role, it was I was expecting I was expecting a 3C role, but yeah. It's expensive, and man, this team is just, there's also a little bit of bad luck going on. I was just looking at their stats over the last few games since Hellebuck got back. And so they win against Washington in his first game back. 5-1 win. Solid, especially against a great Washington team right now. Then a 2-3 loss to Ottawa. Solid game by Hellebuck. 28 saves, 3 goals against. The goal scoring just wasn't quite there to win. Now Hellebuck gives you a 1-goal game, and you lose that because you get shut out by the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
Which, man, does that team seem to have the Jets' number a bit there, huh? And game after that, Colorado lose 2-3. Again, Hellebuck holds the best offense in the league. Top 5 players in plus minus all on that team. Hold them to 3 goals. You can only get 2. That's a loss. Okay, next game. Now we're against Utah. They're not a great squad. We can put up 3 goals. Now Hellebuck lets in 4 goals on 18 shots. Now there's a bit more goal scoring there, and then Hellebuck lets in 4. It's, unfortunately, they're just not able to line up having all their defense and their offense play a good game at the same time.
All
of those games were very close, except for their win, where they kind of beat the crap out of the Caps. But
and a good Capitals team at that. Yeah, I think it's kind of a mixture. I definitely think that Winnipeg does need to address that second line center spot. You have to try something. But yeah, I on paper it's not a bad team. This is still a team that can go on a heater, can still make the playoffs and all that.
You still don't have plus minus up, do you?
No.
This is even goofier than the Atlantic. So the Jets are -4. Not where we expected them to be, and not great, right?
Yeah.
The Predators have 1 more point than them on the season. They're -19. Oh, that's not crazy enough for you? What about the team that's 2 points ahead of the Predators, the St. Louis Blues, 3 points above the Jets? They're -36 on goal differential.
Oh boy.
Because they've pushed 8 games to overtime, and the Jets have only pushed 3, so they have 5 more losing points there. -36, and they're that much higher than you. They've let in 32 more goals than you have if they had the same amount of goals for. Yeah, and they're ahead of you in the standings. I'd be annoyed looking at that.
Yeah, it's and I guess while we're talking about Central teams, it's a good segue to go into Nashville here. Nashville Predators, biggest
7-3-0.
I mean, biggest laughing stock in the league the last how many years? I guess it was last year, but now started off the year off, but they're 5 points out of a wild card spot. They're what is it, 7-3-0 in their last 10? I think it is.
Yeah, tied for third best last 10 record in the Central, because Avalanche, Stars, and the Wild. But yeah, they've been playing great as of late, and I'm pretty sure on that run they've beaten a couple high-end teams as well. I think they beat the Avs, they beat quite a few of those high-up teams. So a lot of their play, I don't think it's sustainable for the team though, because it does look like it's a lot of those players that are trying to get traded out of there. Like Stamkos has been on an absolute tear lately, and that was right around the time where it became known they're looking to trade some of their veterans, and Stamkos isn't off the table.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a coincidence at all. I don't think anyone
No,
does.
I
think
don't think it is either. At all.
within
but it
that
makes you
week, he dropped
wonder
a
if
4-goal game. Like,
yeah,
all even strength.
Because Nashville made it pretty clear that, they were open to trading, a bunch of these guys, but they weren't going to retain salary. And so, if you're Stamkos and you're looking there, I'm like, I've got 2 years after this year, I'm making $8 million. If I want any chance of getting out of here, I got to play my way out of here, because if whoever's trading for me is not getting any retention, I got to show them what I can bring. And that's kind of the tough part is, Nashville's got some life. They've got hope, but it does kind of feel like it's leading to guys potentially getting moved still. And then now the team blows it up, but it might be too late that they've played themselves out of a top 3 pick potentially. And so now it's kind of like Nashville's kind of in a weird spot where it's like, do you try and go for it like your original plan was, a year and a half ago? Or
that would just seem foolish.
Do you pack it in, and when do you do
in
it?
That Central Division? Maybe if they were in the Pacific, or frankly any division.
But that's the thing. That's the thing is all you got to do is get into that wild card 1 spot. You go in the Pacific Division, and I think that division's wide open for the taking. I don't think it's a guarantee Vegas comes out on top in that to the Western Final. I don't think it's a guarantee Edmonton does. LA, I mean, who knows? Anaheim could maybe make some noise, but again, it's no.
I don't see a Pacific team getting past whoever it is in the Western Conference Finals. Like I think
coming out of the Central side.
Yeah, like I think that a team in the Central that ends up in Wild Card 1 and jumps over I think there's a better chance that happens and they get to the Cup Final than a team from the Pacific gets to the Cup Final. Like who's even the strongest team in the Pacific? Is it Vegas or is it the Ducks? Like, whichever one you pick.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Stars. I'm taking the Avs easy. I'm taking the Wild most likely. Like, hell, if the Jets can figure it out, I'd probably take them.
It could even take the Jets. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just what kind of sucks for Nashville is, it was at least kind of it did suck being at the bottom of the league for them, but it was at least nice knowing we're on a direction at least of
you got all your draft
second,
picks.
But now you're. So I think if you're Nashville, you're kind of hoping that they can find a way to move off some of these guys sooner rather than later to allow the team to get down to the bottom and get a top 3 pick. You want to be at least in that top 4. Yeah. And if you're Nashville and you end up in that 6th spot, season's a failure for you because
that's not what the goal is.
It's just another prolonged year of trying to get that top pick.
And I don't think they are completely closed off on the idea of retaining salary. I think them saying that is just good business, stating up front. I think it's one of those things. I'm not saying they are going to for sure, but I think it's just good business to be like, we're not planning on retaining on these, which means if you come into this deal and need some salary retention, you would have to pay extra for it. Like, we don't want to do it, but, if you got some draft picks, we're not married to not retaining. Like, I think it's just a little bit of a good business and trade talk among GMs.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. A team that is starting to pick it up here in the East and are making quite a bit of noise. The Philadelphia Flyers have found their way into 2nd now in the Metro Division. Rick Tocchet is...
Yeah.
He's got this team going, and they're... I can easily see them in finishing in a playoff spot because I feel like you kind of look at the Metro and Carolina's obviously making it as a part of that division. Like, that's just a given, but I assume Washington is. But after that, I mean, Flyers are there. Islanders are 1 point back of them. New Jersey's 2 points back of the Flyers, so only 1 back of the Islanders.
Is the Metro
Rangers are at 40. Pittsburgh's at 30. Like all these teams are all separated by like 1 point from each other, just stacked on top.
The East and West being so different is crazy because also within the conferences, the divisions are similar. Like in the West, the Central and Pacific are very similar in the way that the Canucks are way down there compared to the Ducks, 8 versus 1. The Blackhawks are almost doubled on points by the Avalanche. Like it is a haves and have-nots conference over there. Both the Atlantic and the Metro, not at all. Like even the bottom teams in both, like the bottom 3 teams of both divisions, the Sens, the Sabres, the Leafs, the Rangers, the Penguins, the Blue Jackets. I could see any of those teams making the playoffs. Like, it's not out of the question. Like, there's no teams that are clearly like, these guys are going to be the bottom of this division this year. So, yeah. But, man, the Flyers, they've been winning games. Right now, they're 4-2-4 in their last 10, which looks insane to read. But that means, they won 4 games. They got points in 8 of those games. They're a +7 goal differential. That ties them for second best in the Atlantic. I did not think we were getting this out of Dan Vladar. Holy. He's been fantastic. I was going to say,
with the Flyers, Dan Vladar has been very good. Trevor Zegras, he 36 points, 35 games. Travis Konechny, 31 and 35. Exactly what we expect. Christian Dvorak, 3rd on the team in scoring, 24 in 34, which is very impressive. But it's a good defensive team, right? And that is a big thing that Philly did need, though, is a guy like Trevor Zegras, kind of a just offensive-only guy. Like, Zegras isn't... I don't watch enough Flyers games, but Zegras isn't going to be a guy that's out there on the penalty kill. He's not going to be out there blocking shots in the final 2 minutes and all that. That's not his game. And it doesn't need to be when you're kind of the driving force of the offense. And you'd maybe like Michkov to kind of get up there on the same level because, again, Michkov's he's never going to be a defensive stud. And again, that's fine if you have the offensive skill. But for Michkov, 20 points in 35 games.
He's not even playing as expected, and they're still doing this good.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling under this new system with Rick Tocchet, and maybe it just takes time, as all things do. But yeah, they needed a guy like Trevor Zegras, and to now have him here, and again, a point per game player, takes a lot of the weight off some other guys who were maybe trying to have to punch above their weight class and outperform kind of what their ceiling was. And I think that's exactly what the Flyers needed. And you're getting good goaltending. It's more of a defensive first system. You've got a lot of good defensive players, both in your forward core and defense. So, if it's working for him, it's working for him. And
yeah,
I'm happy with where the Flyers are at, honestly, though.
And they've had several years, pretty much since Carter Hart was done in Philly. They've just had atrocious goaltending. They just haven't been able to get a save, and it's been a carousel. And the second they get a guy who's just going to solidly be there and be, a 9-10 save percentage goalie, like they're cruising. So
yeah,
it's been a little too long since the Flyers have been good. They were not a good enough team at their peak 5 or 6 years ago that it felt like they needed to have a fall off that drastic. But one guy that I do want to highlight that has helped this team turn it around. Last season, 70 games played, 20 points, a -32. That's pretty bad. That's not great. This season, in only 35 games, he's already at 16 points. That's literally exactly half the games of last year. He's only 4 points back of his point total last year. Instead of being a -32, he's a +3. And that is one Jamie Drysdale. I think he's happy to have his buddy Zegras there. I think the vibes are a lot better. Yeah, I don't think he's quite the player people thought he would be quite yet. We'll see if he gets there, but he's on pace for a 40-ish point season from the blue line, be a plus player.
I'm absolutely an improvement from last year. Last year was a very rough year, I think, for a lot of players on Philly, and maybe it's got something to do with the coaching and whatnot, but also when you're a player, you do also have to take a look in the mirror and be like, okay, it's also me. If the fans and media want to spin the narrative that it's the coach, that's fine, but as a player, you do have to sit there and be like, I need to be my best self. I need to be the best player that I can be. And we're starting to see that out of Jamie Drysdale. And again, yeah, that's something Philly needs, because on a team that is not loaded with high-end talent, it's kind of similar, but not fully, because I think Washington has better high-skilled players, but kind of similar to Washington, where you need everybody on the team kind of bought in. And guys can't be taking nights off. And that's kind of what Rick Tocchet's gone doing, because they realistically, a team of this with these players probably shouldn't make the playoffs, but if they're all bought in, they play the right way, they definitely can. And that's a big difference between Philly and Toronto, is the players are bought in. Maybe aside from Michkov, but he's getting there. It's getting better. But
yeah,
sometimes that's all you need. Just got to buy into what the coach is selling you, and you're in a Metro division that's still wide open.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think that they were this close behind the Hurricanes. I figured everyone would be close. Maybe the Caps would be upper in second, which they're tied for second with Philly. But I thought the Hurricanes would be like 10 points up on second place at least. They're only, is that 3 points up? They're only 4 points up on them. Yeah. 43 for the Caps and Flyers, 47 for the Hurricanes. And they have a better last 10 record as well. So it's totally wide open there for them. And I mean, people love parroting it. We've already said it this episode. 80% or higher, or whatever amount of teams that are in the playoffs by American Thanksgiving generally make the playoffs. We are almost a month after that point, and they are second in their division. There's no reason this team can't make the playoffs.
Can't make it. Absolutely.
Whether we think they should or not based on the makeup of their roster, they're doing it.
They're finding a way. Absolutely.
Do you also look at the Trevor Zegras and the Jamie Drysdale trade kind of combined now?
Yeah. I did from the beginning.
Okay.
Because
as soon as the
fleeced
Zegras trade happened,
Anaheim fleeced Philly in the Gauthier Drysdale one, but then Philly fleeced Anaheim in the Zegras trade. So I was like, why not just put them together? And
it almost seems
now
like
it's
even or
kind
trade.
Of fair. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cutter Gauthier is probably the best player in that trade. It looks like he's probably going to be, but Zegras makes it a conversation. And Noah Cates is good, but he's no Jamie Drysdale. So it's
not Noah Cates. Ryan Poehling. Yeah. No, I was gonna say Noah Cates is balling out with Philly still. I like him as a player.
He's good.
But that's a lot of stuff we got there for some team news. Like Braden mentioned earlier in the episode, that we are on the roster freeze officially now. But before that came into effect, there was a couple deals that were made, and not super big ones. So we're not going to be diving into these super in depth.
Well, you know what?
One of these
has worked out very well so far. One of
these, and that's the second one we'll get into. The first one, the LA Kings trade Philip Danault back to Montreal for a 2026 second-round pick. We knew that the LA Kings were going to be trading Danault. He kind of wanted out, and still a decent defensive player, but the offensive struggles this year was pretty substantial, and it just wasn't working out. And I don't think he ever necessarily wanted to leave Montreal, and so when the opportunity presented itself for him to go back there, he took that, and no hesitation at all. And
they need a second center.
But is he a second line? I think he's a phenomenal third line center for Montreal, but
definitely.
If he can figure out the offensive part of his game, because
it's one of those things where we won't know until we see him play, in my opinion. because
Absolutely.
the way he played as a 2C in Montreal before, absolutely. If he's that, they will take that and they don't need to buy on another center. But if he's what he was in
That was a
LA for
bit
the
ago.
last year and a half, at
Yeah.
least, they're going to have to buy somebody else as well. So
Yeah.
it's hard to tell because, is this just offense dying under the coach in LA, who a lot of LA fans aren't very happy with right now? Or is he just over the hill? Is he cooked? It's
Yeah. And
it's
and I
hard to
do
tell.
like it for Montreal of understanding and addressing, hey, you know what? Two of our centers are down for the count. They're done, and we have to make a move. And you're at least bringing back a player that you know already. He knows a lot of the guys there, and it's a very familiar scenario, and
St.
that's
Louis was the
fine.
coach when he was there too, so he knows
Yeah,
the system.
and so yeah, I'm right with you. You bring back Philip Danault, and I think you kind of give it a little bit and kind of see, can he work on that second line, because again, playing with guys like Demidov and Slavkovsky, you do need a center that can kind of work with them. And so yeah, I think you give it a
He
try,
might
and if
cover
it
up
works,
some
it
defensive
works.
deficiencies
It's
for Demidov as well. That might be nice.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think you kind of just run with it for a bit, and if it works, if he works out as a second line center spot, great. If not, that's a phenomenal third line center to have if you're going on a cup run this year, going into the playoffs. Phenomenal third line center.
Yeah,
So
you could, if you really want to boost Suzuki's 5-on-5 or power play time, you could move him to the second line penalty kill. I'm pretty sure he plays on the first. You can move him to the second, be the centerman of the second PK unit, and have Danault be the first to
yeah,
get him a little more ice time as well if he has to be on the third line. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And I think
it
Danault will be
gives
on
them
the
options
kill either way. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for Montreal
and for a
is
second round pick.
options now.
Easy,
That's fine. Yeah,
go
like
for it.
Montreal doesn't. Yeah, you don't need your picks and prospects anymore. Like
No,
you,
they'd much rather make a
you've
push
got
for
your
the
core.
playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Kings, that's fine. You get a second round pick back that you can probably.
What more were you
flip.
going to get for a guy that hasn't done a ton?
What does he have on the season? 0 goals, 4 assists. I think for Philip Danault, you get a second round pick back, and I think he was still making like $5 million for the next couple of years. Like, yeah, that's fine. You just flip that second, and you go and you get something else. Yeah.
Which, frankly, only having 5 points is almost impressive that he is a +3. So his defensive game is definitely still there. But
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Was there
He's always
any salary retention?
Nope, none. Just a clean swap. So good one for one deal.
Yeah, for that price, you know what? That's just fine for them.
Just fine. The other deal though that did take place, the one that we're already kind of starting to see an impact from, that is the Seattle Kraken trading forward Mason Marchment to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a 2027 second and a 2026 fourth. Not a whole lot to say for Seattle other than good that they are selling, because you do need to sell off players, and you traded for Mason Marchment in the summer, and you traded a third and a fourth for him.
You turn that into a
second and a fourth now. So
you got some games out of the player as well, which I know a lot of people don't like pointing out, but that does matter. Getting games played out of guys and production does matter.
So you flipped him and you got assets back in for Columbus. I mean, he's another big winger to add to their team. What does he have now? What was it now? 3 goals in his first 2 games.
3 goals in his first 2 games. Yep. 3 goals in his first 4 periods with the team. And I saw a lot of people when this happened, they were like, whoa, what? The Blue Jackets are buying? Like, I feel like I was a little confused. People were treating it like it was a bigger, like people were acting as if they just traded for Kadri or something. Like, it was for Mason Marchment. It's not a huge needle moving move, and
it's a good power forward in your middle 6. And if you're Columbus, you don't need a 4th round pick this year and a 2nd round pick next year. Like, you're again kind of similar to Montreal to an extent. You've kind of got your core that you've built up, and you're going to continue to build around, and you're building around him now by going out and getting a player like Mason Marchment, who can be a very effective player. was a very effective player in Dallas. It's just his contract that kind of resulted in him, being moved out. And yeah, you're already starting to see the benefits of having him in Columbus, where they need guys like that. They need some depth scoring and some physicality. And no, Marchment's bringing all of that for them. So
yeah, I think a lot of people were curious why the Blue Jackets were buying and not selling, but this team is done with selling. They want to win, and
what do they have to sell?
They're last in the Metro, but how much does that really matter when you're 11 points back from the Hurricanes for lead in the division?
How many points back from the wildcard spot? They're 5?
What would the wildcard spot be?
New Jersey.
The lowest team in both three is 43, so yeah, 41 points. So they're 5 points back from that. Yeah. That's over a 3-game span. That's 2 wins and losing in overtime. A 3-game win streak puts them right back in it
with 45 games left on the season. It's So I like it for Columbus a lot. I like it for Seattle too. Seattle actually selling a bit, and which I think they absolutely should. Yeah, so it's a very good deal for both sides, and
they'd rather lose a couple more.
Yeah, and selling off, that will absolutely do that. The more you sell off good players, the worse your team's going to get. The worse your team gets, the more you're going to lose, and that's what Seattle should want, is to lose a lot.
It's a good looking draft this year. A lot of those players would look really good in Kraken teal.
And for Seattle, there's no centers. It's wingers and defensemen. Exactly what they need. They don't need another center. Go out and now, you want to get a defenseman. You want to get a winger because that's what you need. So this is a very important year for Seattle to really tank hard. And starts by selling early.
Yep. They're definitely one of the teams that if they sell properly, they could very much end up in the bottom 3 in the league and get a fantastic player. So
I would like that for them.
Yeah.
It's very much needed.
I think everybody, especially after how hated Vegas was pretty quick after getting into the league, people were really excited for Seattle. They have this sick logo. Seattle is a very cool city. I think a lot of people really wanted to cheer for them and hope they did well, and it looked like they were going to, and then it just kind of fell apart.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I don't think there's very few people that dislike the Kraken, which is fun, but at a certain point, it's I'm sure Kraken fans are sitting there going, "Man, I wish Vancouver fans, I wish Calgary, I wish LA fans hated us at least a bit. We should have at least given them a reason to be pissed off at us right now." But they haven't been good enough to create any enemies, which kind of sucks. Yeah. So hopefully they can fall apart so that they can put together a better team through these great young players. And I love this deal.
Yeah, absolutely. You and me both. Speaking of deals, this isn't an official deal, but this is the weekly mock trade that we do once a week, where we put together a little mock trade that we think could be something we can maybe see happen in the league. This is my week here, so I have a deal that I've done up here, and pretty simple. I'll throw out the deal. We'll discuss it a bit. If it's one that's really good, then it's not a big discussion, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So this is a deal that involves a team that I think should be selling and a team that I think desperately does need to buy now, being in the Central Division that is very, very competitive. So,
can I make a guess?
Yeah.
I bet this is about the Minnesota Wild buying a center.
It is not. It is not. No, this deal does not even involve a team buying for a center, believe it or not.
No, they don't need one. Good for them.
The Calgary Flames trade Blake Coleman and Rasmus Anderson to the Dallas Stars.
Wow.
In exchange for forward Maverick Bourque, defenseman Leon Bichelle, forward prospect Emil Hemming, along with a 2027 first-round pick. And obviously, if you look at cap wages, it doesn't necessarily work with Dallas's current cap structure, but this is also assuming that maybe Ilya Lyubushkin gets moved, or they put Tyler Seguin on that LTIR officially and deem him done for the remainder of the season, which I expect they're going to do. Now, when you look at how juiced up the Central Division is starting to get, they're going to need that, almost $10 million to go out and buy.
They're going to need it, but if the player can play and he says that, then they don't really have much of a choice.
But he's out for like 6 months.
6 months from now, that's, yeah. It's, Sagan's a guy who's really going to be trying to work back, so I just wonder if he'll...
This is assuming, though, that like they say, like, hey, he's not going to be back.
Yeah.
Going kind of off that. So Blake Coleman, Rasmus Anderson for Maverick Bourque, Liam Bichelle, Emil Hemming, and a first. And there's a 2027 first, because Dallas does not have their first round pick. That is over in Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to need to know more about these guys that Dallas is sending back, because from what they're getting, like 10 out of 10, right? Like, that would be incredible for them. Getting Rasmus Anderson, a great offensive defenseman. Now your first pairing is Heiskanen and Harley, and then your second pair is Esa Lindell, a great shutdown D-man. And opposite of him, you got Rasmus Anderson putting up all the points. Like, that's the best top four in the league immediately, I think. Unless there's an insane team I'm forgetting. Like, that would...
It would probably beat Minnesota. And Minnesota, I think, has the best right now. But like, I think that would beat it.
Like, Rasmus Anderson would probably be their third best defenseman in their top three. Blake Coleman, he's from Dallas. He's got 2 years left, I believe, which is nice. You get him at some term. He's on a... And
they need a winger. They don't need centers. Like, they need... Yeah. Like, you've already got Rubens, you've got Wyatt Johnston, you've got Matt Duchene.
He can play center or either wing, like either side. So, like, he can be anywhere you need him. He can be on the power play. He could be on the penalty kill. Like, he's just one of those guys that's a Swiss Army knife. You can put him wherever.
Yeah, so you asked a bit about the players going to Calgary. So Emil Hemming, he's I think he's 19 or 20 right now. He's a former first-round pick, still playing in the OHL right now, I believe with the Barrie Colts. Maverick Bourque, so far this season, he has 12 points in 37 games. First-round pick in 2020, 30th overall. He's only 23. Hasn't really gotten much of a chance in Dallas. Last year, 25 points in 73 games, only averaging a little over 12 and a half minutes per night. This year, 12 points in 37 games, averaging just a bit under 14 minutes a night. And then Liam Bichelle, no impressive offensive numbers, 3 points in 26 games, but he is just a big 6'7", 240-pound, 21-year-old defensive defenseman. That just can play shutdown minutes, and he's left-handed, so he's a perfect guy to put alongside a Zane Parekh, a Hunter Brustevich, whichever one of the right-handed guys Calgary's going to have up there.
Yeah. I love it from the Dallas side, obviously, for all the reasons we've already outlined here. Those are two big guys and Calgary can also retain on these deals as well and get even more because they're giving these guys out with a cap hit discount. I just don't, giving up both of them, I just don't see them getting enough value back out of those guys.
I think Rasmus Anderson's value is, even though he's having a great year this year, his trade value is going to be hurt because he's very selective about where he would extend. And there's not many places he would extend, so teams trading for him, there's a very good chance that he's probably leaving, unless he basically goes to Vegas, and then they know he'll extend.
Maybe. I also think Dallas isn't a team that thinks about are they going to want to stay? I think they're one of those have teams.
No, but that's the thing is like that's why the value maybe isn't quite there, and you're still getting a young, former first round pick center who really hasn't got much of a chance in Dallas. You're getting a 21-year-old defenseman who is going to have a long career. You get a young prospect, and you also get a first that if you're the Flames, you do. Whatever.
Yeah,
it's
but
maybe not
that
quite
first
there.
That first is like 26 overall or worse. Like you got to assume the Stars team is going to be great. And
so what's
Rasmus Anderson and Blake Coleman are
too
good they're too good to be getting guys back that the best thing you can say is they're going to have a long career, right? Like you want a good prospect, or it just feels like a lot of fine things when they're going to want a big piece and then some other parts.
Maybe, but I think people are thinking Blake Coleman is worth a first and an A prospect because they're like,
an A prospect is a bit much.
But that's what kind of people are putting the market at for him, and unfortunately, that's just not it. He's still a very effective player, great player.
Is fair, especially if you retain.
So the first,
I would say you need to retain.
So the first in Emil Hemming for Blake Coleman, then that's a first.
I mean, maybe it's just you're higher on these guys like Emil Hemming. He's 28 points in 17 games in the OHL. Like it's hard to tell it's the OHL. Those are good numbers. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I'm higher on those people. And then
the 2024 draft. Okay, I did think it was a bit further back. So you know what? That's not as bad as I thought.
So so maybe that's around the value for Blake Coleman, and then. I don't mean if you're getting Liam Bichelle, Maverick Bourque for Rasmus Anderson, I don't hate that for Calgary because that gives you that kind of solidifies what your defensive core is for the next while, as you're kind of rebuilding, and then you kind of just focus on the forwards because then you have Zane Parekh, you've got Uyghur, you've got Brustevich, you've got Ball, and you've got Bichelle now. That's kind of your core. So maybe if you're Dallas, maybe you have to add on another second.
You know what I was going to say? Dallas, I think this is a perfect time for. Yeah, I think this is a perfect time for one of those little bit out there conditions on a pick because Dallas doesn't have their first rounder for this year, but they have theirs for next year. Yeah, they're missing this year and then 3 years from now, but 2 years from now they have it, and I think. It would be the perfect spot for that's the first rounder in there. And then maybe there's a condition that if, say Rasmus Anderson extends, because we'll know by the time that pick comes around if he's extended there. If he extends, then you also get their second that year. And it's like if Rasmus Anderson extends, they don't care about losing an extra second. Like
it's either Anderson extends or you make the Western Conference Final. Anderson plays at least 75% of the games because then that means at least Anderson played and you got through Minnesota and Colorado.
I was going to say the Western Conference Final is a big goal for anyone in the Central.
Yeah, so I think if you added on something like that, then. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, that probably rounds it out a bit more, actually. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that would make both sides very, very happy.
Yeah, I think the main thing holding it up for me was just if any of these guys look like they're going to be that good at the NHL level. But
he's already a made man in this league at 21 years old.
I thought Emil Hemming was 21, and still doing stuff.
He's
juniors,
still.
But no, he's 19. Doesn't turn 20 until the summer. So you know what? That's
pretty
not.
Sure he's going to the World Juniors coming up soon. Which World Juniors coming up soon? Going to be fun. Going to be a good time. But yeah, that is the weekly mock trade.
I like it.
You got a week now to cook up something for next week here. Yeah,
good stuff.
Anything left you wanted to touch on before we get into our final segment here before we wrap things up for the Christmas holidays?
Yes, I had one bit of news here. We don't have to dive too deep into it. I'm just pulling up some of the extra details. But the ECHL got called out online by the Professional Hockey Players Association, the PHPA. I think it was just last night, and they called them out for unfair and unsafe working conditions. They also served the league a strike notice. So it sounds like the players in the ECHL might be going on strike and might stop playing for a little bit, depending on how this goes. They were pretty open in what their gripes were as well when they posted online. I believe a lot of it is coming to light. More ECHL players were going to the association and being like, hey, we need something done about this. Players were not allowed to pick their equipment. They were all supplied by the same like team supplier. So like, I think they were all getting, Warrior or something helmets, and like some guys are like, this just doesn't fit my freaking cranium. Can I get a different one? They're like, no. They are not given they're not having time taken into account for like travel. Like they're, sometimes a 9-hour bus ride. One guy was quoted as saying like, that was my off day. According to the team, they had one off day, and it was the 9-hour bus ride home after an away game. Just a lot of things like that. That was just, it feels like the league just hasn't kept up with the world because it probably doesn't make enough money that they felt like
it's a league that really doesn't make a whole lot of money, and
it's an incredibly thankless job as well, because the AHL is at least close enough to the NHL that teams are funding a lot of money into it, a lot of development. That's where they get their guys.
Yeah.
The ECHL is a tier below that, and it's not a ton of high skill guys that'll end up making it. It's a lot of guys that it's for the love of the game. Like there's plenty of players coming out saying they have to work side jobs to be able to have a living wage while playing in the ECHL. And on top of that, it's a harder league to play in because it's all these guys desperate for their chance at the AHL, less alone the NHL, or even going overseas, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to get noticed. So it's a lot of harder minutes there a lot of the time as well. So it's just rough on the players, and the league seemed to not be showing any concern for that. And they also tried to negotiate with the league a holiday break this year, and the league wouldn't even like answer their request for talking about it. Like they just no, and that's the end of it. It's just a lot of stuff. They lay it out so well in their post that none of it is consistent with the rest of professional hockey in North America. And they're standing up for their players. So good on the PHPA, good on the players who stepped up and talked about this. And it sounds like they've found quite a few different ways that they have actually, like, it's not just rumors. They have officially violated multiple U.S. labor laws at this point. So luckily, that means they will either have to pay a shit ton of money out of pocket to fix it in fines, or they will just answer some of the demands and get some actual progress done with it. So good on them for bringing that up.
Yeah, I don't have any.
There's not a ton to
say on this at all.
Really break down on it. It's a pretty clear case of the little guy, the good guys, the working man versus the bigger entity that isn't treating them like
but also
should be treated.
It is saying, though, when it is the bigger entity, it's a league that, in fairness, is struggling to stay alive. Like it realistically, I don't mind ECHL, but it's realistically I could see being potentially done within. Like this could be the start of the end of the ECHL, because
it very well could
be. They just don't make enough money, and that's a problem. Money is the thing that makes the world go round, especially in the professional sports world. And if you're not making money and you can't provide proper stuff for players, their families, fans, and all this stuff, like it's just not gonna work. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where this situation goes.
I'm wondering if it ends up with not the league dissolving, but some of the worse or lower performing teams dissolving. Like maybe I don't know how many teams they have in the league, but maybe the bottom 6 or 8 teams in the league
shrink the league a bit.
They go away and they spread out the talent. Maybe make it so this team doesn't perform well and it's like way over here and nobody's near it. Like that's just unnecessary travel. Maybe there's just not room for them in that ecosystem. So we'll keep an eye on that and what goes on with the ECHL. But
see what happens. Absolutely,
we're all for players' rights. So,
alrighty, here to wrap up this episode here. I have a fun one here for you, Braden. We are going to do another edition of Buy or Bail. This one is kind of a hybrid one. We've got some hockey stuff in here, but it is also Christmas time. So it is a Christmas edition Buy or Bail. So we got a bunch of different stuff in here. And if it is your first time here and a part of Buy or Bail, pretty simple. I have a statement, and then it's up to Braden and you at home to decide if you are buying that statement or bailing on it. And then Braden can give his justification with a brief statement. Are you ready, good sir?
I am ready.
Alrighty here. Buy or Bail Christmas edition. Starting it off. Eggnog is overrated.
Insanely false. Insanely false. I honestly, I'm shocked at how many people I meet who don't like eggnog. I had it for the first time when I was like, I'm 27 right now, and I think I had it for the first time when I was like 23 or 24, and I was so annoyed nobody had ever brought me some before that. It's like cotton candy flavored milk.
Fair enough.
I don't even put rum or anything in it. It's just freaking good.
Straight out of the carton. All right.
It's good they don't sell it year round because it has so many calories. I would die.
It does. Absolutely. All right. So you're bailing on that one there.
Yeah. I'm buying on eggnog.
Both Craig Berube and Brad Treliving will be fired by Toronto before the draft. Both of them gone.
I'm gonna bail on that. I think one might go. I don't see both of them going.
Fair.
Unless the team keeps underperforming and Berube's out, and then Treliving makes like a really bad trade at the deadline or something. I just don't see it. But yeah, I think one of them's probably gone.
One's going for sure. I agree. The Minnesota Wild survive the Central and they reach the Western Conference Finals.
I mean, it would be fun. It would be fun to see. Like,
it would be fun.
That's a team that just doesn't have a history of great playoff success and deep runs, and it's just always fun to see those teams break out, especially when they take a big swing like that. Like, we've only seen Quinn Hughes in the playoffs twice. Yeah. Like, that's criminal for how good he is. So the question is, do they beat the Stars or the Avs? And then after that, do they beat the other one?
The other one.
You know what? I'm going to buy on it. You know what?
I like it.
What you can't just pick the best teams every year to go to the finals because it
doesn't work that way.
Just generally doesn't happen. There's always at least a couple upsets.
All right.
The Kraken beat the Avs a few years ago in the playoffs. Remember that? No, that ruined every bracket.
Stockings should always be opened before tree presents.
I guess I'll buy on that. I guess I would say I won't. I'll bail on that, but that's how I do it, and that's how I would do it. But like, I don't know, if you want to open them after, I guess you could. It's just weird, but like, I wouldn't yell at somebody.
I'm hard buying on it. It's stockings first, and that's it.
Yeah,
it's the way it goes.
It's not. That's how we do it. So
It's not Christmas in Canada if there is no snow on the ground.
I'm gonna bail on that. It definitely feels much more Christmassy when there is snow on the ground, but the sheer amount of decorations, Christmas music, it even without snow on the ground, the vibes are still there for the most part.
Okay.
They might
where
not
are
be
we at
peak vibes,
here?
but there's still vibes.
Riding the high of a 6-game win streak and only 3 points back of a playoff spot, the Buffalo Sabres make their way back into the playoffs.
Would be crazy. This is the best team that they've had in a bit.
Would be crazy.
Josh Norris been healthy. He's been scoring. Let me look at these standings again. Oh, bail.
Bail.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Buffalo. Do it. Like, I'll cheer for him to do it, but I can't, in good conscience, pick them to make the playoffs.
No, absolutely. Gift giving is just as enjoyable as gift receiving.
False. I think it's better. I think I'm at that point in my life, and I don't know. Maybe if you get a certain gift, it can be absolutely incredible. You know, if you get something huge, but I think for the most part, I think I actually look forward to seeing people open the gifts I've got them.
Yeah,
more than the gifts I'm getting. Like, I feel like I'm just one of those guys. I focus so hard on getting the people gifts that they'll like and all that like I'm thinking about that so much that like I'm waiting to see people open the gifts, and then I realize like, oh, like I've got a stack of 6 things to open beside me. Like you almost spend so much time thinking about buying the right gift, you forget that that you also get them. So,
alrighty. The Carolina Hurricanes take another big swing on a big name player.
They've been doing it a lot. Nick Ehlers hasn't worked out for them the way they'd wanted. Do they have cap space?
Oh yeah,
they've got the assets.
They've got the cap space. They've got the assets.
Is somebody
there's nothing
available?
Preventing them from.
Is somebody available?
Everyone's available for the right price.
I'm trying to think of who's even out there that they might go for. I don't know. Maybe a Nazem Kadri. I don't even know what position they need to upgrade. I guess goalie. Yeah, I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna buy on that. They consistently have been buying the last few years. Ehlers hasn't been the guy they wanted so far, so they'll probably try again.
All right. The official The official Christmas colors are red, green, and white.
False. It's red and green.
Yeah, they don't have white in there. All the snow, the Santa hat, the beard.
I'll give them. That's a secondary color, but the 2 main colors are red and green.
Okay, fair enough. I can get on board with that. The Detroit Red Wings finish first in the Atlantic.
I'm bailing on that. They have a -3 goal differential. They've been winning games.
I had that one down and we started talking about them. I was like, yeah, I know where this one's heading. I don't blame you, though.
I think they'll make the playoffs. So.
I think as good of a chance, absolutely. White Elephant is better than traditional Secret Santa. For those who aren't familiar with White Elephant, it's basically the one where you open a present or you can steal from someone, and then you just go around and do that. Whereas traditional Secret Santa is you just draw a name and you buy for that specific person.
Can you give me a setting for this? Where is this happening? Family Christmas?
Sure, yeah.
I think traditional Secret Santa is better than. I think White Elephant works better for a friend's Christmas, like a work Christmas party. I think it works better for that. I think when it's family, it just works better to just get, because a lot of them for White Christmas ones are like a $20 limit, and people aren't putting too much effort in. They'll often buy a funny gag gift, like, you know, I feel like you much more often end up getting actual use or enjoyment out of a Secret Santa gift. And
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people, there are a certain subsection of people that they get more into the white Christmas or the white elephant than other people, you know? They're really trying to figure out how to get the best gift, and the people, it's almost like playing beer pong with a new person. It's like people start making up these rules you've never heard of, and it's like, oh no, but you can trade each round. We do 3 rounds, and you can trade this many times, but a same present can only be traded this many, like, and you can, and girls can finger it and guys can blow it out of the cup, and it's like, okay, let me throw a thing into a cup.
Okay, you're still talking about beer pong. I thought you were talking about the guess. I'm like, what is happening? Okay.
I
Okay.
combine them.
I'm back on track now. All right. But I do absolutely get what you were saying though.
Yeah. But if you're doing like everyone has presents, and then you're also doing a like shitty little white elephant, I think that can be fun. If you're
Okay.
going, as long as there's like, I think it benefits from a very small money limit, like $10. Like nothing good in there that people will fight over. Just a bunch of funny stuff that people are gonna laugh every time a gift's open. Like that's when it's at its best.
All right. We did kind of talk about this one, but I'll run it back here. The Nashville Predators, who are 7-3 in their last 10, don't sell and make the playoffs.
I'm gonna bail on that because I think they are
Yeah,
going
we did
to
kind of
sell,
discuss it already, but
and
kept
I
it in,
assume
so.
they don't make the playoffs. I would assume.
And the last one we got on here, games night are a must over the holidays.
Yeah, game night is always a good time. Whether
Gotta have them.
whether you're playing Romoli, you're playing Cards Against Humanity, you're playing Risk, you're playing Jackbox.
Who the fuck's playing Risk over
whatever you're playing?
Can't believe Risk was one of the first ones to come to
I was
mind.
gonna say Monopoly, and I was like, that's chump.
That's a little bit too much. Yeah, fair.
That's chump hours. People are playing Risk.
Fair enough, absolutely. But that is it for this episode. Again, this is the last episode before the Christmas holidays for all of you and us here at Stick 'em Up. No official episode on Friday this week. There will be one next Tuesday. And keep an eye over on the YouTube for some YouTube exclusive stuff. And that'll be talking about the Olympics and doing some, our predictions or mock teams for certain countries. But Braden, we are all wrapped up here. We are wrapped up like a Christmas present. We are ready to begin the holidays here and some relaxation. But before we begin, I must ask you one final time, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. This is, and it's not even close, the closest the NHL has ever been while I've been watching as far as points goes. We've already said it this episode, but like Leafs are last in the entire East. They're 10 points away from the Red Wings. That's a 5-game win streak to tie them at top of the division. No team is truly out of it yet. And I would only fully write off maybe 4 or 5 teams in the entire league for making the playoffs. So yeah, hope if your team's not at that point yet, hopefully they turn it around, because any team can make the playoffs this year. It's an absolute gong show out there, and I can't wait to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, it is absolutely wide open for the taking for anyone. But that is it for us here. One final time. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, we hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, holidays, however you may celebrate with friends and family. And we will see you out on the ice next week.